Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, Counter Spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Crime drama Gerald Mohr, starring in The Adventures of Philip Marlowe. From 72 years ago, January 28th, 1950, The Hairpin Turn. And we thank you for tuning in on this TGI Friday edition, 28th day of January, 338 days remaining in 2022. In a snowstorm at Fort Keogh, Montana, the world's largest snowflakes reported in 1887, 15 inches wide, 8 inches thick. The Carnegie Institution, founded in Washington on this date in 1902, and in 1909, U.S. troops left Cuba with the exception of Guantanamo Bay Naval Base after having been there since the Spanish-American War of 1898. Congress creating the Coast Guard on this date in 1915, and in 1917, municipally owned streetcars took to the streets of San Francisco. A symbolic tomb of the unknown soldier installed in 1921 beneath the Arc de Triomphe in Paris to honor the unknown dead of World War I. Washington, D.C.'s biggest snowfall in 1922 caused the city's greatest loss of life to date when the roof of the Knickerbocker Theater collapsed. The Lego Company patented their design of Lego bricks in 1958. They're still compatible with the bricks produced today. President Reagan lifted the remaining domestic petroleum price and allocation controls in the U.S. in 1981, hoping to end the 1979 energy crisis and begin the 1980s oil glut. It was on this date in 1985, the supergroup USA for Africa recorded the hit single We Are the World to help raise funds for Ethiopian famine relief.
I am just thrilled to say that I'm going over to join some of my very dear friends and people that I've met for the first time in a joint effort, do what we can to help some starving people in the world, some deprived people. And it's going to be wonderful as far as I'm concerned to, first of all, meet, gather, and do some good. It's great.
Lionel Richie talking about the recording of We Are the World on this date in 1985. And it was on this date in 1986, Space Shuttle Challenger broke apart after liftoff, killing all 7 astronauts aboard.
3, 2, 1, and liftoff. Liftoff of the 25th Space Shuttle mission, and it is cleared the tower.
Pieces of ice tumble off as the coldest Space Shuttle launch ever gets underway. Challenger seems to shake herself free of the ice and goes.
I have a report from the flight dynamics officer that the vehicle has exploded. Flight director confirms that.
There was a huge explosion. Filling the sky were white clouds of smoke combined with fire.
It's just one of those things that feeling that you get, that cold feeling all over that only happens maybe 5 times in your lifetime.
I regret that I have to report that based on very preliminary searches of the ocean where the Challenger impacted this morning, these searches have not revealed any evidence that the crew of Challenger survived.
Francis R. Scobie, Commander, Michael J. Smith, Pilot, Judith A. Resnick, Mission Specialist, Ronald E. McNair, Mission Specialist, Ellison S. Onizuka, Mission
Today
Specialist.
Today is a day for mourning and remembering.
Payload Specialist.
Nancy and I are pained to the core by the tragedy of the Shuttle Challenger. We know we share this pain with all of the people of our country. This is truly a national loss.
The explosion of the Space Shuttle Challenger on this date back in 1986. Among those passing away on this date in history, Schultz from Hogan's Heroes, John Banner, ironically passing away on his 63rd birthday. Also, cartoonist Jerry Siegel from Jefferson Airplane, Paul Kantner, and actress Cicely Tyson passing away a year ago today at the age of 96. This is the birth date of pianist-conductor Arturo Rubinstein, also jazz tenor saxophonist Ronnie Scott, and jazz clarinetist Acker Bilk, The Stranger on the Shore. Alan Alda is 86 years old today. Barbie Benton's 72. Singer-songwriter Sarah McLachlan. Also Mo Rocca from the CBS Sunday News. Very funny man, 53 years old. Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett is 50. NSYNC's Joey Fatone is 45. Backstreet Boys' Nick Carter is 42. WWE's Sheamus getting through spinal stenosis, but he is still wrestling at the age of 44. From Lord of the Rings, Elijah Wood is 41. Viggo Mortensen's son, Henry Mortensen from Crimson Tide, 34 years old. And from Modern Family, Ariel Winter is 24. Though some of the people celebrating the 28th day of January as their birthday. If this happens to be your birthday...
Hi, we're the Four Freshmen, and we just want to say, Happy birthday to you!
And from 72 years ago today, January 28, 1950, The Adventures of Philip Marlowe and the Hairpin Turn. That's up next on this Friday edition of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station. Mike Lindell has set out another big sale for listeners. It's the first of the year bedding sale. Half price on the MyPillow sleepwear, the wonderful Giza Dream Sheets, the 2-inch mattress toppers. It's like a MyPillow for the rest of your body. Also, the blankets and quilts and comforters, they are all half price right now. 50% off if you use our promo code USA. Also, big overstock. If you know somebody who's expecting, the body pillow, it's regularly $120. It's now $39.95. Also, select pillows, couch pillows, and individual towels are deeply discounted. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener square, use my promo code USA, or call 1-800-951-8175. The first of the year bedding sale at MyPillow.com. Promo code USA. There were 2 radio adaptations in the U.S. of Philip Marlowe. One series, a summer series, 1947, Van Heflin portraying Marlowe, and this series that CBS did that ran from 1948 until 1951, from September to September, and that is the episode we'll be hearing today. In the earlier series, as I said, Van Heflin played Philip Marlowe. In this series, Gerald Mohr portraying the Raymond Chandler detective. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox from January 28, 1950, The Adventures of Philip Marlowe and the Hairpin Turn.
Get this and get it straight. Crime is a sucker's road, and those who travel it wind up in the gut of the prison or the grave. This time a fireball, too handy with a target pistol, led me down a rocky road past the sleazy money grubber to a curly-headed corpse. And it might have gotten worse if I hadn't slowed down at the Hairpin Turn. It happened like this.
From the pen of Raymond Chandler, outstanding author of crime fiction, comes his most famous character in The Adventures of Philip Marlowe. Now, with Gerald Mohr starred as Philip Marlowe, we bring you tonight's exciting story, The Hairpin Turn.
Hey, stop it. Put down that gun and listen to me.
Stay back, Uncle Enoch. How do you like that?
Well, if you could think just half as straight as you could shoot, I'd have nothing to worry about, but you can't. And it's high time you realize that...
Oh, there's the house buzzer. Somebody's up at the house, Uncle Enoch. And this is Miles' night off.
Well, all right, I'll answer it. I'm expecting a man from the office. But as soon as I finish with him, you and I are going to have a talk, young lady. Do you understand? I said... Oh, what's the use? Yes?
I'm Philip Marlowe to see Mr. Vanneman, Enoch Vanneman. I have an appointment.
Oh, come in, Marlowe. Glad you're here. Step this way, will you? We'll talk in the study.
Okay, Mr. Vanneman, I thought... Those were pistol shots?
Yeah, that's Kay, my niece.
Sounds like a squad of Marines.
Yeah, she's a champion pistol shot. She's converted one of the garages into a target range.
Well, I seem to recall a city ordinance that says...
I know all about that ordinance, Mr. Marlowe. Save your breath.
Oh, just like that, huh?
Precisely. Sit down, please.
Thanks.
Breaking a city ordinance is a perfect example of all the crackpot things that headstrong young fool insists on getting mixed up in.
And you want me to get mixed up with the crackpot, huh?
Yes, she has no more sense in her choice of male companions than she does in her hobbies. And she's a very rich girl.
Now, look, if this is a bodyguarding assignment, Mr. Vanneman, I want to tell you...
Kay has been going with a man named Cliff Lace. An unsavory type, at least. Professional horse player, I think, and it was quite an affair.
Was quite an affair?
That's right. She threw Lace over for a new love recently. Fellow I've never met. She's serious, but refuses to tell me anything about him.
So
Cliff Lace doesn't like the idea because, from his standpoint, a very good thing has slipped through his fingers.
Oh. He's going to do something about it, huh?
And I don't know. But since about the time they broke up, a man's been snooping around the grounds here, Marlowe.
Really?
He's about 40, short, greasy looking. He has a flabby kind of face with fat lips, and there was a large black mole on the right side of his nose.
Hey, I may know that character, Mr. Vanneman. I'll have to check to be sure.
Marlowe, I want to know who he is and why he's been hanging around here. Also, I want to find out all there is to know about Kay's new man.
Tell me, how old is Kay, Mr. Vanneman?
She's 26. That's her picture there.
Oh, well, blonde fireball. Look, Mr. Vanneman, if she's 26, maybe her love life is none of your business.
It is my business. I'm her guardian, and I'm very fond of her. But she's reckless, stubborn, and erratic.
Yeah, well, money's great, but it'll never replace the old-fashioned parent.
And it's also a big responsibility, you know.
No, not firsthand, I don't.
It leaves one open to every crooked scheme in the book. Here, look, Marlowe. I've written my personal phone number on this card. You can reach me there privately at any time.
All right, Mr. Vanneman, I'll see what I can find out. I got in my car and I crossed the 2 acres of tailored flora the Vannemans called front yard. I could see in back the squat, windowless brick building topped by a skylight that housed the target range. Then a minute later, I drove out through the big Bel Air gate into Sunset Boulevard just as Kay Vanneman streaked past me in a sleek new Nash. I was sure I knew already who the snoopy little man who'd been hanging around was. The description of flabby face, fat lips, and mole fit tight on a guy named Mutt Pomeroy, who'd somehow been issued a private detective's license and somehow managed to keep it. He was just about as ethical as a stab in the back. I remembered he had an office in a fire trap on Bronson, so I made that my first stop. Climbed a flight of dark, smelly stairs to a tired door marked Pomeroy, Private Investigations. Well, there was no answer, so I tried the door. Somebody beside Mutt had been there ahead of me. Turned the place inside out. It was a shambles. I spent 5 minutes going over his files, scattered like leaves in November, and was still at it when the door behind me swung shut.
Lose something, chum?
Hello, Mutt.
What's the big idea tearing up my joint, Marlowe?
Hey, you know better than that. I wouldn't touch the stuff you keep on file without rubber gloves.
Real funny. If you didn't do this, then who did?
I came in and found it just like this. One of your clients must have gotten a little careless.
You're full of them tonight, aren't you?
Yeah.
What do you want here, Marlowe?
I need a little help, Mutt.
No kidding. Okay, chum, sit down. Glad to help out a brother sleuth any time at all. Now, what's your problem?
Why are you so interested in the Vanneman place?
Oh, the Vanneman place.
Yeah.
Quite a chunk of real estate they got there.
I know. What's the fascination?
A little simple investigation for a simple little lady.
For purposes of conversation, what'll we call her?
How does Estelle suit you?
Estelle?
Look, Marlowe, you got in free. Take the scraps and be happy.
Okay. But as you put it, the Vannemans own quite a chunk of real estate. We might subdivide. You might like to tell me how this Estelle ties in.
Yeah, I might at that, chum. She's worried about a guy. And from what I've seen of that jet-propelled blonde named Kay Vanneman, she's got plenty of reason to worry.
Guy's name wouldn't be Cliff Lace, would it?
Cliff Lace? I don't remember, Marlowe.
Okay, Mutt, how much is it going to take?
Well, now, that's hard to say. I'll have to let you know. You see, I've got an angle on my end, too. My little client swears up and down there's no other woman involved. But, you know, the Estelles are always the last to know.
You're beginning to smell, Pomeroy.
And just how do you fit, Marlowe?
I'm helping a guy worry about a girl.
Well, that's real nice. And when your clients worry, the wrinkles make dollar signs, so you're always right. Is that it?
Thanks for everything. I'll see you around, Mutt.
Yeah, but don't go away mad, chum.
Oh, of course not. That's why I'm leaving now. It took a friend at the phone company all of 10 minutes to locate Cliff Lace's address for me, which turned out to be a snug bachelor's nest bungalow style at the foot of the Hollywood Hills, numbered 4300 Cherimoya. I parked, started for the front door, and on the way, past an open window where the silhouette of a man at a telephone was cut into neat slices by a Venetian blind.
Oh, but you better want
But his voice came through in one piece, and you couldn't miss it.
You see, Estelle, I know almost all about you. Oh, yeah. I got your name earlier tonight from a mutual friend, Mr. Mutt Pomeroy. I think it's about time we got together for a little business conference, huh? Now, right there at the plaza in, say, 2 hours. You'll still be registered as Ruth Bridges. Good. Goodbye, Estelle.
When he hung up, he moved over to a bottle of Johnny Walker Scotch. I waited until he'd helped himself, and then I went to the door.
Yeah.
My name's Marlowe, Mr. Lace. I'd like to talk to you.
What about?
Whatever it was you were looking for when you ransacked Mutt Pomeroy's office tonight. Do I come in?
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
All right.
But I'm afraid I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, come on. We both know that's a lie. Let's forget it and go on from there, huh?
Just a minute. You a cop?
No. But I'll call him at the drop of a hat. Make it easy on yourself.
Shit. What's Mutt Pomeroy to you?
Bag of worms. I want to know who he's working for. The fact that you had to break into his place to get information should let you out, so who is it?
What makes you think I'd know?
Because you found what you were looking for. What's Estelle's last name, Cliff?
You do get around, don't you, Bright?
Yeah, I do. Only sometimes not fast enough. Look, Buster, why don't you answer the door? Somebody's got his finger caught in the buzzer.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, I told you I didn't...
I stopped by to deliver something, Cliff. An ultimatum. I'm telling you for the last time...
Hold it. We're not alone.
I don't care what I have to say to you. I'll shout from the rooftops. We're through, washed up. Now get out of my life and stay out.
Okay, please.
Good evening, Miss Vanneman.
I don't know you, Slim, but keep out of this.
Look, darling, don't...
Now you listen. I'm in love with Boyce Neely. Really in love this time. I intend to marry him, and I won't have...
Marry Boyce Neely? Don't be ridiculous.
Cliff, I'm warning you.
Look, you'll get this. You'll never marry Boyce Neely. That's one thing I'm sure of. I know a lot more about him than you do, darling. Believe me. When the time is just right, you're going to hear from me again, but loud.
Why, you filthy... If you try to do anything to hurt Boyce and me, Cliff Lace, so help me, I'll kill you. I mean it.
Sometimes she's going to throw that temper at me just once too often.
Who are you kidding, Lace? Ever see her use a target pistol?
Ah, she's too smart to trump her own ace.
Don't count on it, mister.
I'm not worried. Where were we, Marlowe?
We were looking for some answers, which I just got. Good night, Lace. Keep your head down. The way things were breaking, I was sure if I didn't get to the woman named Estelle before Lace did, I wasn't going to get anywhere. So I spent the next hour folded up in a phone booth running down the list of respectable and semi-so hotels with the word plaza either for or aft. Finally, a flute-voiced night clerk in a mid-Victorian number called the Royce Plaza confessed that they had a Ruth Bridges, which was the name that I'd heard Lace mention. She was registered for Santa Monica, but at the moment out. I was convinced that she was really Estelle, Mutt Pomeroy's client. So I drove over to the hotel, invested $5 for the night clerk, picked up a newspaper, and waited. Halfway down the sports page, a prim brunette came in who would have been pretty without the overload of nervous strain stamped on her face. As she crossed the deserted lobby, the clerk gave me a nod, so I called her name, caught up with her at the foot of the stairs.
You called me?
Yeah, if you could spare me a minute, Miss Bridges, I'd like to talk to you.
What do you want?
Well, my name's Marlowe. I'm a private detective.
A private detective?
Yeah, look, honey, let's move over into the corner. You know, that boy on the desk is going to sprain his neck if we don't.
But what do you want with me?
Well, suppose we start off with your real name, Estelle. What's the rest of it? Neely, maybe, huh?
How did you know that?
It's taken me all evening to get it. That's the only way it figures. It's right, isn't it? You're married to Boyce Neely?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Mrs. Boyce Neely, but what business is that of yours?
Well, that's what I'm trying to find out. You hired Mutt Pomeroy to check on your husband because you're worried about him, right? Why?
Boyce is in trouble. He's in a jam, that's all.
Is it money?
No, Boyce does very well. He's in real estate in Santa Monica.
Oh, maybe with the law, huh?
Yes. Yes, I'm afraid so. He's been acting so strange. He wouldn't talk to me or anything. I just had to find out what was wrong.
I see. Well, look, what's your connection with Cliff Lace?
Why, I don't know any Cliff Lace.
Oh, come on, baby. Take it a little easy and try again. Cliff Lace, I know you called him tonight, and he called you.
All right. He wanted to talk to me about Boyce and some girl named Kay Vanneman, but he's crazy. I know he is. Boyce is not mixed up with another woman. He couldn't be.
I hope I meet your husband soon, Mrs. Neely. I'd like to punch him in the nose.
What do you mean?
But Pomeroy was right. The Estelles are always the last to know. Look, do me a favor. Will you go up to your room, go to bed, and get some sleep? You're going to need it.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Marlowe.
Hey, Buster, where's the phone?
Oh, right over there, sir.
Good book?
Huh? Oh, yeah, great. Chandler's new one, you know.
Chandler.
Oh, my, we know who that is. Raymond Chandler, the creator of Philip Marlowe. You're listening to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox and an episode of The Adventures of Philip Marlowe. So here's the choice. Some people say the USA is finished. It's evil, a has-been, full of hate and injustice. The U.S. Constitution should be trashed and the Bill of Rights abolished. No free speech, no gun ownership. Competition and free markets are bad. We're all too stupid. For our own good, the government must own everything and know all your secrets.
Other people say that America has created the freest, richest, happiest, most generous society that has ever existed in the world. That's why millions of people are desperate to come here and escape their brutal lives in Cuba, Venezuela, North Korea, and 100 other countries.
In America, we have the right to succeed, the right to our own living, the right to have a family, the right to believe in God, the right to have our own ideas, the right to be safe and secure, and the right to be left alone.
Where do you stand? Help us save the Constitution and restore the American dream. Go to SaveMyFreedom.com.
Brought to you by the American Media Council.
Thank you for tuning into Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We're listening to Gerald Mohr starring as Philip Marlowe in The New Adventures of Philip Marlowe, as it was broadcast Saturday, January 28, 1950. In the newspapers of that Saturday, 72 years ago, these were some of the headlines. A broad hint the U.S. already has plans underway for building a hydrogen superbomb dropped yesterday as President Truman and top atomic officials held a series of hush-hush conferences. Chairman Brian McMahon, chairman of the Democrat of Kentucky of the Congressional Atomic Energy Committee, dropped the hint after a closed-door meeting of his committee with Chairman David E. Lilienthal and members of the U.S. Atomic Energy Commission. Simultaneously, elder statesman Bernard Baruch, author of the U.S. Plan for World Atomic Controls, and Chairman Carl Vinson, the Democrat of Georgia of the House Armed Services Committee, called for prompt production of the so-called Hell Bomb, lest Russia get it first. Dr. Harold C. Urey, one of the nation's top atomic scientists, urged last night that the U.S. develop the hydrogen superbomb before the Russians do it first, saying, "We may already have lost the armaments race." Urey, who played a leading role in developing the atomic bomb, told a Roosevelt Day dinner he was unhappy to advocate a weapon that might be 1,000 times more powerful. President Truman sharply refused yesterday to talk about his attitude toward Alger Hiss, one-time government official convicted of falsely swearing that he gave no secrets to a communist spy ring. Replying sharply that he would not comment, Truman further told news reporters at his news conference that some of their questions were not asked with good intent. In the background was a Republican attack on the Truman administration as being uncooperative in the Hiss case, and Republican demands that Secretary of State Dean Acheson be fired for saying he would not turn his back on Hiss, a good friend who had served in the State Department. Nothing was said for the criticisms in the round of questioning. A young woman who became a man by surgery has been married to a girlhood chum. A recent marriage disclosed yesterday by an authority who asked that no names be used. The bridegroom, a slender, dark-haired young man, was known as Joan before a series of operations last spring at Yonkers Professional Hospital, and as John afterwards. The bride, a New York elevator operator who was a close friend of Joan for some years before the operation. More than half the fortune in jewels 4 gunmen seized from the Aga Khan and his wife last August 3rd was mysteriously turned over to police in a brown paper package yesterday. Estimates of the value of the recovered loot, like that of the total stolen, fluctuated wildly, but police experts finally settled on a figure of around $370,000. Well, the Lee Marion family of Chicago had to call up the reserves to let their cat out of the bath and get to work on time. Seems Scratch the cat sleeps in the bathroom at night and moves out when the family takes over in the morning. Mrs. Bessie Marion, usually first in line, washed up and started breakfast. Her husband ran into a locked bathroom door. Seems Scratch climbed up on a hamper and closed the bolt. When Paul Prather, the janitor, arrived, worked the bolt back. Scratch found hiding under the bathtub. Oh, and in the Victoria, British Columbia Times, will gentlemen wearing false faces in Boston who picked up $1 million by mistake please return? No questions asked. It was signed anxious. We've heard the $1 million is gone. Apparently, it was no mistake. Those some of the day's top news stories as reported in the newspapers of Saturday, January 28, 1950, on your radio, The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, which continues now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Good book?
Huh? Oh, yeah, great. Chandler's new one, you know.
Chandler. Where have I heard that name before?
Hello? Enoch Vanneman?
Marlowe, Mr. Vanneman. Kay there?
No, she's not, Marlowe. And listen, I want you to forget whatever else you're doing and find her immediately.
Well, what's the matter?
She left here about 15 minutes ago in a fury.
Where was she going?
I don't know for sure. She left shortly after you did tonight. Then she came back about an hour ago.
I know. I ran into her. What happened this time?
She got a phone call from Cliff Lace. Something was said about him now being in the driver's seat, whatever that means. She was furious.
That's not good, Vanneman, believe me.
Well, it's worse than you think. You've got to stop her. Because when she left here, Marlowe, I'm quite sure she had her target pistol with her.
I hung up the phone, ran out to my car, and headed back to Cliff Lace's bungalow on Cherimoya. But Kay had a 15-minute head start, and at that hour, in her frame of mind, the drive in from Bel Air was a hop, skip, and a jump. The only hope was in Lace himself being smart enough to know that he'd overplayed his hand. The street was deserted when I pulled in and parked down the hill from the place. When I got to the front door and found it unlocked, I eased it open and went in. The living room was dark, but there was a light on in the bedroom, and I started for it. Before I saw the bulk of a figure leaning against the dark side of the frame.
Come on in, chum. Make yourself at home.
What are you doing here, Mutt?
Easy, Marlowe. There's no hurry. Not now, there's not. School's out, chum.
Where's Lace?
Inside. It was nice, clean, accurate, and exactly dead center. He never knew what hit him.
In just a moment, the second act of Philip Marlowe. But first...
January 28, 1950, The Adventures of Philip Marlowe on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on this Friday.
Here's some great news. If you missed the deadline to sign up for health insurance, or if, like a lot of people, you just have a plan you're not happy with, you still have a choice. It's called MediShare. It's a Christian healthcare sharing program. There are more than 400,000 members now, and they love it. In fact, MediShare has double the customer satisfaction rate compared to that of health insurance. And MediShare really is the gold standard when it comes to healthcare sharing. It's been around more than 25 years. Members have shared more than $4 billion of each other's medical bills. Plus, MediShare is for you. It has saved its members billions by advocating on their behalf. Best of all, the typical savings for a family is around $6,000 a year. So if you think you're stuck with a high-cost health plan that doesn't have much to offer, think again. MediShare has a 98% customer satisfaction rating, and you are invited to be part of it. Call now. 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE. 833-34-BIBLE.
On our Saturday edition of Classic Radio Theater, Western Adventure, Raymond Burr, starring in Fort Laramie, from 66 years ago, January 29th, 1956, the boatwright story, Captain Quince takes out a patrol to stop the sale of rifles to Yellowknife. That'll be coming up on Saturday's Classic Radio Theater, but now the conclusion of The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, starring Gerald Mohr, January 28, 1950, 72 years ago today.
Now, with our star, Gerald Mohr, we return to the second act of Philip Marlowe and tonight's story, The Hairpin Turn.
A small, neat hole front and center at his forehead said that Cliff Lace had been shot to death. And everything from jealous motive to target pistol method pointed directly to Kay Vanneman. But that was still a long way from proof, and there was Mutt Pomeroy on hand. The kind who always figured only one way. To the right of the dollar sign.
Now, let's not jump to any dumb conclusions, Marlowe.
Like what?
Like the look on your kisser that wants to know what I'm doing here. That I can explain. I got Cliff Lace's name from you, and a sawbuck to the right guy gave me a rundown on him, a sort of a character analysis, you might say.
So?
So I figured he was the guy who frisked my office to find out who I was working for. He must have tagged me out at the Vanneman place, followed me down to my joint, then turned everything inside out until he ran across something that added for him.
Something like the name Estelle Neely, maybe?
You move fast, don't you, Marlowe?
Yeah, when there isn't too much crowding. I've got most of it already, Pomeroy, so spill.
Spill? I don't know what you mean, Marlowe.
I mean that Estelle Neely hired you to find out why her husband was worried. You come up with an answer, all right. It was called Other Woman.
So?
Estelle didn't even suspect anything about another woman. And you didn't tell her what you found out because it was Kay Vanneman, a gal with $1 million, right or wrong.
Suppose you're right, Marlowe. What are you getting at?
A possibility that you could have done this.
Kill Lace? Why?
Because Lace was playing the same game that you are, chum, blackmail. Your motive was money and so was his. Plus the fact that he didn't like Kay giving him his walking papers.
So when he wouldn't come to terms with me, I killed him, is that it?
Yeah, it could be. Can you prove otherwise?
No, I can't. But other things can, Marlowe. Things, yeah. Like that lipstick smeared cigarette in the ashtray behind you. It's not my brand. And I don't drop hairpins on the carpet when I kill. Do I go on? Or were you just trying it for size because you hate to think that a gorgeous item like young moneybags could be it? Right or wrong, Marlowe?
You know, leveling with you, Pomeroy, takes the kind of talent that can cash a $7 bill at a bank.
Who are you calling, Marlowe?
The cops. It's the custom.
Wait. Look, don't be a sap. What'll that get you?
A killer, maybe.
Yeah, and from there on, a pat on the head. A well done from the law. Get smart, chum. Shielding a murderer is a lot healthier for the bank account than nailing one every time.
Get your hand off the phone.
Now, Marlowe, listen.
Get it off!
Okay, go on, louse it up, Boy Scout. Who knows, maybe some bright day you might even run for alderman, Marlowe.
Without your votes, I'm sure.
Homicide, Sergeant Becker.
Phil Marlowe, Sarge, is a DOA waiting for you. 4300 Cherimoya. Name's Cliff Lace. Occupation questionable. He was shot.
Any idea who did it, Marlowe?
Yeah. Poor little rich girl named Kay Vanneman, or her sweetheart, one Mr. Boyce Neely.
Who lives in Santa Monica?
Yeah. Where's the fit?
I don't know. How long ago was this Lace killed, Marlowe?
30, 40 minutes? Why?
Neely's clear. We picked him up at his own home better than 2 hours ago. He's in a pokey now.
What'd you get him on?
Hit and run, a month ago. It's alleged that he knocked an old lady out of a crosswalk and into a hospital without even stopping to watch her bounce. Some anonymous tipster phoned the dope in around 6 tonight. Said the repaint job on Neely's car would prove it. It did. So that just leaves this Vanneman babe, huh?
Yeah, I guess so. But you know, Becca,
Hey, Marlowe, come here quick, out in the backyard there. It's Kay Vanneman.
I'll call you later, Becca. We got company. Get the lights, Pomeroy, and stay down.
Don't worry, Marlowe. The driveway alongside the house is the only way out.
All right, watch it from the front. I'll go through the kitchen and out the back door. Play it close.
Check.
But remember, Pomeroy, nobody gets trigger happy.
Don't worry, chum.
Come on, baby, you're cornered back there. Talk up.
Who's that?
Philip Marlowe, the guy you saw here with Cliff Lace earlier tonight. I'm also a private detective who's working for your uncle and trying to keep you out of trouble. Now, let's have the target pistol, baby. Come on, throw it in.
I can't. I don't have one.
Uncle Enoch says different. He told me you left the house with
I
it.
told you I don't have one.
All right, come on out. But slowly, hands high, no jokes. I always lose my sense of humor right after murder.
After...
Yeah. Lace was shot to death. Never mind the carefully arched eyebrows. You're in too deep, honey.
You don't think I had anything to do with Cliff Lace getting killed, do you?
Oh, no. It's all one great big coincidence, huh?
Why don't you leave, Miss Vanneman? I said, why don't you leave?
Well, how about it, Mr. Marlowe?
Go ahead. I won't try to stop you. If you're guilty, you won't get very far.
Well, all right.
All right, Pomeroy, what's on your mind?
A partnership, chum.
Based on what, chum?
Based on the fact that I saw you kill Cliff Lace.
That? You what?
Yeah. I saw you standing over the body with a smoking gun.
Come on. You don't think you can really make that stick, do you?
No, but it would keep you busy explaining for a while, long enough for me to wind up my business.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Well, Marlowe, what'll it be? You and me as partners doing business with old Enoch Vanneman on behalf of the niece I'm sure he'll want to protect? Or me in business for myself? Well, which?
It'll be partners, Pomeroy.
Okay, chum. Let's get inside and clean up. The lady was kind of careless around the edges.
Hey, the split. How far does it go?
50-50. Fair enough.
Fair enough.
After you, Phil. Now get that cigarette butt and the hairpin on the copper there. Then tell Sergeant Becker that you were jumping the gun about the Vanneman girl because you just found out that she was at home all night. I'll check the rest of it.
Okay, Mutt. First the cigarette butt, then the hairpin. Hey.
What is it, Marlowe? What's with the hairpin? Why'd you say... Marlowe, quick, get the light. Someone's out front.
Don't shoot. It may be the law.
In skirts? Look, get in that car over there. It's a babe, and 5 will get you 10 that she answers the name of Kay. Oh, that jerk's going to be a Lulu to protect.
Yeah. Well, we better go in.
Hey, the hairpin you dropped into your pocket, Marlowe. What's so special about it?
Oh, nothing. It was just a hunch I had. Forget it.
Marlowe, I want to see it.
Okay. Here. Get a good look. Partner. It was a fast 20-minute drive back out to Bel Air and the Vanneman place. All the way I worried hard that the hunch I was playing was right and that I was going to be too late to do anything about it. When I was there, parked halfway up the pedal driveway, out of my car and running toward the fluorescent light and the sound of a woman's voice that filtered through the heavy iron mesh over an air vent in the windowless target range. I slowed to a walk, switched to 45 and parked at the right hand, and then I moved up to where I could both see and hear. Kay Vanneman was huddled in a far corner, her eyes crowded with fear and riveted on the dainty but lethal .22 automatic that Cliff Lace's murderer pointed straight at her head. Estelle Neely had her back to me, but with the grill that was designed to stop bullets between us, there was nothing I could do.
You've got to listen to me. Please listen before you do anything crazy. I swear I never knew that Boyce was married. I'd never have gone with him if I'd known.
You're a liar.
No, it's the truth, I tell you. It started like the others, fun and no questions asked. But then I fell in love, and it never occurred to me that he might have been married.
Stop it. I don't want to hear any more. I've already killed once for Boyce, the guy I turned into the police for something he did a month ago.
You turned your own husband over?
I did that so they'd put him away out of your reach. You'd never wait for him. You'd go your own merry, merry way a week after he was in jail. Boyce would be glad to come back to me after 5 years of living in a cage like an animal. And he'd never suspect that I was the one who informed. I hired a private detective, Mutt, and made sure that he knew I never even suspected that Boyce could have anything to do with another woman.
Then Boyce would never realize it was you who turned him in, because you had no motive. Mutt Pomeroy would be your witness to that.
I killed Cliff Lace because he traced me from Pomeroy, and then found out that I was the one who told the police about Boyce. He would have blackmailed me forever. And I'm not sorry. Nor will I be when I kill you.
Now sit down, Miss Vanneman. And listen carefully.
I couldn't shoot, and I knew that it would be disastrous to yell, but I had to do something in a hurry. I moved up quietly to the door. It was locked. That only left one chance, a skylight on the roof. The building was low, and a lawn chair nearby was all the help I needed. When I was up and over to the skylight, there was glass and no mesh underneath. I still hadn't made it, because from that angle I could see Kay. But only hear Estelle.
Now you know just what kind of a woman is going to kill you. But why me? I told you. I don't care what you told me. It was you, young and beautiful, that started all this. All this is almost over now because the other detective, that Marlowe, knows that I killed Lace. Found a hairpin there. I saw him from a window. I saw him pick up the hairpin, Miss Vanneman. The black hairpin that couldn't possibly belong to a blonde like you. The hairpin that said Marlowe knows that I killed Lace. So I'm through, and I know it. But before they get me up... My hand, Marlowe, is she dead?
No, just out. Well, Fireball, any appropriate wisecracks?
Wisecrack? Not for quite a while, Marlowe. I'm too scared.
Well, it was the usual hour and a half of questions and answers with client, followed by the same questions and answers with police before I finally closed the door on Enoch Vanneman's marble halls and started down past the manicured shrubbery to where I'd left my car. Outside, the night was cold and clear. As I walked, I looked up at the vastness overhead and wondered why I had the kind of job that made me no more than a houseboy with gun for a rich guy with a badly spoiled niece. But I stopped wondering when I was at my car and no longer alone.
I just wanted to say thanks before you left, Phil. I would do my best to stay out of trouble from here on out. You know why?
No, why?
Because I want to be good enough for the right guy who may come along someday. Guy like you, I mean.
Oh?
Thanks, Phil. I'm very grateful.
Yes, well, my job's all right 9 times out of 10.
The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, bringing you Raymond Chandler's most famous characters, star Gerald Mohr, are produced and directed by Norman MacDonald, and are written for radio by Robert Mitchell and Gene Levitt. Featured in the cast were G.B. Hunter, Jay Novello, Olive Deering, Ralph Moody, Tony Barrett, and Charles Russell. The special music is composed and conducted by Richard Arant.
January 28, 1950, The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Visit my webpage, classicradio.stream. That's classicradio.stream. There you'll stream our shows on demand, learn more about classic radio collecting, and contact me there, classicradio.stream. Also, you can find our programs anywhere podcasts are served, including iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, just about anywhere podcasts are served. All you have to do is search for Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Please thank this radio station and support their advertisers. It is their kindness and courtesy that we're here with you each and every Friday. And tell all your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater, right here on your favorite radio station.